All right. So last session we went through this setting up our GitHub and work using it. I wanted to make sure that everyone is on the same page. So we are gonna do a little bit a quick version of it again this session. Then we will talk about the important things again. And then I will give you a practice to do. You can submit it, and that would be at the end of the session. So, all right. I try to go back to that file and try to reorganize it a little bit better and try to put things in a better organization. So I did that. If you go through, oh, this is not the file. Yeah, this is a file. This is basically a very good instruction file for you to always use as a reference to you work with GitHub, committing and pushing and other features that we are gonna go and check. So we talked about this last session. I hope that everyone's VS Code is ready, so we don't have to worry about that part. What we are gonna do, we are going to start from here. Okay. So every time you're creating a new project, distinguish this. Are you working on a new project or you're working on a new file within the same project? If you have a new project, then go and create a new folder and store a new file, new basically Python files, whatever file you have in that folder. If you still keep working on the same project, but creating a new file, you don't need to do this a step every time. So first, we should create a new project, new folder for the project, right? So I'm gonna just go choose wherever you want to probably it's better that create a new folder. Okay, I'm gonna create a new folder to always keep my let's say MISY350, okay, projects. Okay, now then every time you create you want to create a project, you want to create a folder, create this folder to always have one place to create this file. So I'm now here in this folder. I will create a new folder for this. I'm gonna for now session 3, okay, test, and this is 011. Okay, so I created a folder that I will use to store this new project I'm working on. Okay. Once you do that, then you can go to your VS Code. Okay, I need to organize these screens better. Let me see. Okay, I want to use VS Code here. What is this? I don't need it here. I need one more screen. And then GitHub. All right, this is better. Then I can post this. Wow, there I have so many other files here. All right, so VS Code, let's open that folder. So I'm gonna go and open that folder that I created for my new project. So MISY350 projects, and that's the folder. Okay, so we are creating when you're opening the project, don't open one file, open the folder. Once you open the folder, it opens all the files here. But if you click on one file within that folder, it could only open the file itself and basically that one specific file, which could be a Python code or anything. But when you open the whole folder, Explorer, it will open your whole project. All right. Close this. So you can see the Explorer, this wherever whatever you have in your folder, you will see that here. Then you have this sidebar, some extensions. I again forgot to mention that.
So here we can create files. So we are going, like, the first step was to create a folder and then open it on GitHub. Now let's create a new, like, let's say Python file. Okay, test.py. Okay, so that py is for Python. I'm gonna create it, and we're gonna just type a very simple code. The code, like, here in this session, doesn't matter that much. Hello, um, this is day 3. This is day 3. We are setting up GitHub. Still, no, don't type it. All right. So we're setting up GitHub. Now, last session, I also mentioned a different type of file. What was that file type? What is it? Do you remember?
Markdown.
Markdown, exactly. Why do we use it? Notes, plans, document. This is for document, but very much of a professional document that you can share it with others too. I'm going to create a markdown file. I will indicate it like, notes.md. Notes.md. There are some like things that like you can use in Markdown. I'm not going to get into it. You can search about like Markdown features and like learn about them. I will just like show you, for example, like in Word that you have like a font 1 or like heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. You can have this like hashtag, okay, like 2 hashtags. I think this should be heading 2. We have like 3 hashtags, maybe heading 3. Uh, for example, if you use 2 stars and then probably this is bold, I think. Okay. So like these have a meaning in Markdown file. How do we know it? On the right side, do you see this like button here? Okay. Do you see this button on the right side? It shows you open preview. Click on open preview. Okay. Click on open preview. Okay. Do you see this? If you open preview, that's how you will see it. Okay, so I'm not going to cover these things, but you can search about it. But probably you will use it when you're coding in some places, and like for specifying like and using this markdown file. There are just a few small things that you can use, but you just need to be familiar with them. Over time, if you see it like a MD file, how to open it and how to use it. All right. Now we can like close this for now. Okay. Um, so let's go to we can run this play button here. I'm gonna like run it, right? So this is my terminal. You can create more terminals. Okay. So let's start with this. We can check if we have GitHub. I can type git and then version. Okay. No, git version. All right. Yes, I had a so if you type git hyphen version, you will see the GitHub version in your system. All right. So first, probably we need to do it once. Okay. So what we are gonna do, usually we kind of like set our identity. Okay. Username and then like our name and user and like email. Why do you set your identity with GitHub so they kind of like keep track of who is committing, who is making the changes? If you're working in multiple projects, or like if you're working in a project that multiple people are working in it, and everyone is contributing to the project, you want to know who made the change. So that way you're recording the change with the name of that person, or the identity of that person. So git global, let me just keep, I want to use my memory here. Git config, yes, good. Git config, okay, git config and hyphen global, okay. You probably do it once and you don't need to do it every time. Okay. So git config. I'm gonna close this so I can have more space to increase the size. And I will remove the rest so I can create one clean terminal. Okay. Git config global. Okay. User dot name. And I'm gonna like set my name here and then git config global user dot email. Right. So these are just like identity setting, like for the comment and like pushes that you're making to GitHub. All right. So now, if we go back to that document, all right. So we did this part. I've added this part because I forgot to mention it last session. I always have this on, so probably it's better that you have it on to autosave. Okay. So go to your VS Code, go to File, and like make sure that your autosave is on. This way, it will always save your file. If your system crashes while you're working on it, it happened to me at least 3 to 5 times. I worked for 3 days and then it crashed, and my whole like changes were gone because I didn't push it to GitHub, and also I didn't save it. Sometimes even like you auto save it, it locally saves it. So like I lost my whole like 3 day of work. That's why now every time I make like some changes, I don't trust my system. I push it to GitHub so I know that it's there and it's saved. But anyway, keep that autosave on. And later when you try to like work on this project, you set your GitHub, always if there's any changes, it changes the color of the files. That makes it kind of remind you there are some changes that you haven't committed yet, or you haven't pushed them yet to GitHub. Now, we take 3 steps or 5 steps. I can't remember how many steps. So this is our vocabulary. I have it. Okay, a stage, commit, push, clone, pull. We're going to talk about the other ones later. First, the first thing is, if this is the first time you're like working on the project, you haven't set the repository yet, you need to create a repository. So that's why we use this git init. Okay, so git init to initialize a new repository for this project. This will create an initialized empty Git repository in that folder. You see that, and that's why I said create one folder to keep all the project folders in it. So it kind of like helps you to keep a better track. So we initialized that. Is it in GitHub? Not yet. Okay. Remember, this is still local. We'll see when it becomes public on GitHub. Now, git status. What does git status do? It will check the status of your file and tell you if there are new files that have been changed but haven't been commented. Yes.
What does git initialize?
It initializes a new repository on Git, and like basically you want to like have a repository on GitHub, right? Either you like create on like this repository manually on GitHub. We'll talk about it here. These are my repositories. So for every project, I need to have one repository, so the files are like stored in it. When it is the first time, okay, so we start one time. You do it one time. If you try it again, it will tell you that just reinitialize that same one. For every project, there is one repository, and that's what it does. It just initializes the repository. All right, git status. It shows me that 2 files have changed. I haven't committed them. Now, first, stage them. Git add. Okay, git add. Now, either you put dot or you put the name, specify exactly the name of the file that like you want to commit. What is the difference? Sometimes you just want to like, I want to like commit everything at once. So I will just say git add dot. Okay. That's okay. I'm going to commit them. I'm working on the project myself. I don't have to worry about it that much. Okay.
Sometimes you're working in a collaborative environment and like you want to make sure that every things that you do is being recorded carefully and like fairly so you can use it as an evidence, right? I don't know, like for different reasons. In that case, you can make this a multi-committed step, meaning that like each one of them can be, okay, test.py, for example. That way you specify the name of the file and say, first, I'm going to commit this, and then I'm going to commit the other one. For now, we're just going to use dots because we don't have to worry about like one-to-one commits, right? But just wanted to explain that when you stage it, either you stage the whole file, whole changes, you want to commit them at once or one by one. Okay, so I'm going to use dot for now. I want to just like get it done in one step. So I staged it. Now git commit m. So again, what is the difference between commit and push? Commit is local. You're recording the change with a specific node, indicates that what was done to that file, what was the changes made. It's just a simple note. Push, that's when you push it to GitHub. So as long as you haven't run the push, it is still stored locally. So git commit inside is double quotations. I will say created new project, added test file, added MD file. You see, because I have multiple files, and for each one of them, I want to specify some topic node to indicate what I did. Okay, so created new project, test files, added MD file, and like, you know, that's it. Close the quotation. So that's my note. All right, git commit m. So what happened? Now we'll tell you exactly how many files were committed. 2 files were committed, changed, 4 changes. That means like 4 lines were changed, and you can see plus. Means that you only added, you didn't delete anything, you didn't delete any code, you just added them. Create mode, and then create mode is for the files. Now git push. Once, if this is the first time you're trying it in this project, it's not going to work because you're pushing the project to the repository, but the repository hasn't been created yet in the GitHub on the website. Let's try it and see what I mean by that. Okay. So either specify the URL here, either you already created the repository already on GitHub and you give it the link and say push it to this repository, or you have to go to version control. Here, go to version control, click on publish branch. All right, now it is actually becoming a repository on your GitHub. Before doing that, just pay attention to the name of the repository. Are you okay with that? And then the type of repository. Do you want it to be private or public? You can also change this later, okay? So I'm going to use the same name that is already. I will make it private, and then it just pushes it like the project to GitHub. Now I can go to GitHub and I can see my files. So let's open our GitHub. Okay. Now you see it created our repository. Okay. I can click on it. A new repository is created. I can see my files. I can see this thing here, commit, right? How many commits we've made to this project, to this specific project. Let's click on that one commit. What is the note? Create a new project. This is the note that you typed when you were committing it, right? That's how it reminds you in that commit what you changed in that specific step. A lot of times you're working on projects that like there's like maybe, I don't know, maybe some days you have like hundreds of commits by different people. Something goes wrong. How do you keep track of it? This is very useful. This code, if you work with an AI agent and like you want to say, hey, go and check this like commit we made,
I think something like went wrong or we had a bug or something. How you do it? Quickly say, go check that commit where the commit ID is this. Just gonna look it up, and go find it and like quickly run it. I can click on this file and I can exactly see what was changed. Okay. In that commit, we have 4 adds, 0 red. That red means no deletion or add.
Any question? And you can see which files were changed in that commit, right? This is what I'm saying. When you say git add dot in the same commit, multiple files are committed. But if you're working on an important project for some other company, it's probably maybe sometimes better to record them separately to show your progress. Let's say for this file, I'll change this and then separate comments. A lot of times people put their GitHub link into their resume. It's a version control system. They use it as a reference for their experience, like because we make this product, okay? So if you go to my, for example, if you go to my repository, I can put my code, like my repository, or the link to my GitHub in my resume and show it to people as my skills. I don't have any public repositories, but usually people make some public repositories and like put their links to their resumes and like show people that like, hey, these are the projects I've worked on and these are my commits and history, and like you can see like my experience in this programming, in this project management and so on. So use it as you wish. I'm close to 11,000. I'm close. I'll get there. 11,000 commits. All right. So let's go back here. All right. So we pushed and we committed everything. So let's try this one. Git. We are not gonna do it much. This happens only like if there are, let's say, multiple people are working on the project, and like you want to know what is like you want to have the most recent like changes, or like make sure that you have the current version of the file. You can say git pull. Okay, git pull.
So what it does, it pulls from GitHub. It pulls from GitHub. What does it say? Already up to date. So it checks the GitHub repository, pulls it, and then compares it with your code and says if there is any inconsistency. Then you can say, for example, if there is something, like you can say, reset it to GitHub. I've done that. Like I've made mistakes in my code, and like I was confident on my version on the GitHub. So what I did, I did reset it to my GitHub version. Okay, so I lost the changes, but that's okay. I dropped them. I wasn't sure which changes I made, so I just like set it to GitHub version. So I'm pretty sure that version was okay. Okay.
Good. Any question? Are we good? All right. We are done with the first phase of the session. Source control, public, private. One more thing. Let's go to GitHub. All right. You can create repositories manually, and when you were like pushing, like you can set like instead of like running Git init, like you can just like give the link to your repository and say push it to that repository. Here, do you see this like green link? Okay. Create new repository. You can do this manually. In case if you're doing it manually, you can do it here. Set a name for that repository. Specify is it public or private. Okay. That's the same way. Like you did it locally by running git init and publish it to GitHub, or do the other way, manually create it on website on the website and then use that link. Here, that's about it. All right. Now, git clone. Have you seen this like sci-fi movies that like they're cloning us and like our minds and everything, kind of like making copies of each one of us and then like use it, right? So cloning, that's it. You often clone a file from GitHub. Why? Like instead of sharing you the code on Canvas, I will give you a link
You open your like your VS Code and clone that project. Make a copy of it locally. Very simple. Then like downloading it on like Canvas, opening VS Code. Just simply you have a link, you make a copy of it locally and start using it. A lot of times people don't send you the files for you on email. Give you the link to the GitHub repository. They say clone it and start using it.
So how do we clone a project? I'm gonna like say I want to clone, okay? I will give you the link to this project and you want to clone it, okay? You don't want to do it, you just want to just follow up and you will see how simple it is, okay? I will probably just give you the link to that repository, okay? So what you do the same way, let me just close, actually, session 3, clone practice, okay? And then I will go here, new window. I want to create a new window. New window. And then file, open folder. Actions. Okay. So let's say I created a file and it's just empty.
You have the link to the project on GitHub and you want to clone.
Okay. So simply you go to terminal, open a new terminal. Okay. And then let me just make sure that I have the correct one for cloning, git clone. I remember that was it. Yes, cloning. That's one line of